Hey, welcome to another video from the Outdoor Analyst. Today I've got a interesting one for you. I think it's fun. It's something I've been just kind of mulling around in my head for a while, and I think it's something that a lot of new knife people really get caught up on. And even not even just noob knife people. And the topic I'm going to be talking about is steel. And it's most really kind of the philosophy behind super steels versus your old school steels, and why I've kind of flipped. I used to be a pretty hardcore steel snob, which means I didn't want to buy a knife if it didn't have the best steel possible for that configuration. And in a lot of ways, I was completely justified in doing so. Having the best amount of bang for your buck is awesome. But in reality, how does that really stack up? I mean, what are you really getting when you get CruWear or MagnaCut versus your good old bloody 1095s or 52-100s? And what's the difference in real practical use? And what's the difference in resharpening? And there's a lot of good reasons to get certain knives and certain steels. And I am not going to shame anyone for wanting the best. I'm also not going to shame anyone because they just don't like to sharpen super steels, because guess what? They suck to sharpen. And don't let anybody fool you. Sometimes even 3V is an absolute pain in the ass to sharpen. There's just no way around it. It's not fun. It depends how it's heat treated. Some companies are not super consistent, and you'll have a 3V that's really fairly easy because it's on the softer end. And then some will just shoot up to a really high Rockwell, where a 3V, which is kind of like your lower end super steel for sharpening, becomes actually fairly difficult to work with, especially when you're talking about a fixed blade. So a lot of my kind of philosophies on super steels has actually taken a step back, and I'm one that's usually give me the best bang for buck. My Fox River EXT2 from Bark Rivers and CruWear. This is an amazing steel. I have a LT Wright Jesmic in 3V. Love it. I have a Lon Humphrey, what is this thing? Bridger, and 52-100. Basic carbon. Pretty awesome. And then we have a Bark River Gunny Scout in MagnaCut. Probably the best steel out there. Is it ridiculous? Totally. It's amazing. And then an SE3, this is the RB3, and 1095. Good old classic 1095. And you know what? It's pretty awesome. I love all of these steels, and in some ways I actually love the easier steels to deal with even more. And it's because even though you get some amazing properties, especially when you're talking about like big choppers, I love big choppers in 3V because they're very hard to damage. But when you do damage it, and that usually means instead of hitting a tree, you'll hit some sand in there or a rock that's embedded in your bark, it will chip, and that will completely screw you over for the long term. Yes, I have chipped 3V, I've rolled 3V, I've rolled this knife quite a bit actually. It is a Scandi ground, and it is very, very thin. And yes, I have chipped, and I've rolled this knife specifically, and then reprofiled and re-sharpened out, and it was okay. But it did take a very long time to do. I've had CruWear, which is supposed to kind of be the best version of 3V. I have the tip. Snap off this like a chicken when I was out hunting in Texas. And you know what? This knife got one good field dress in from a fantastic black buck, which, this was a little too big for it, but it was what it was. I didn't get to take this one on the bison hunt because guess what? The tip friggin' snapped off. How was that? How did that happen on CruWear? Well, because guess what? Super steel still is not freaking super. It can screw you. There's nothing special about it except for the fact that it took a super long time to get kind of reprofiled. Is this perfect? No. Can I still field dress with it? Absolutely. It's friggin' hair shaven sharp. Is it gorgeous? No, but it does have a lot of belly now, so I'm not too worried about it. It'll work. Am I kind of disappointed in the super steel? Yes. Am I disappointed when 3V rolls and chips? Yes. And do I have the same disappointment for a knife that costs generally, you would think, half as much for the price point? Not as much, but it happens about the same amount. Now, I'm not saying, yes, go get for the cheaper steel. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. 52-100 is not as tough as 3V. You can go thinner on the edges and have it be more effective. Do I still like 52-100? Absolutely. Great steel, very tough, decent edge retention, and it's kind of what it's baby 3V to me. It's kind of like 80 CRV2. That to me they're fairly similar. 1095. I have nothing wrong with it. I used to diss 1095 a lot because it does not have incredible edge retention. But you know what is really incredible is if I want to resharpen this knife after going and working hard on it, I can do this in a couple of minutes. And I mean that. Just like we're talking either strops or if I have to actually, something really bad happened to it, true edge damage, I can put this on my little workshop stone thing. Oh, well, here we go. Boom. This tiny little thing and fix it within 5 minutes. And I mean that. Can I fix a chip or a roll in this in 5 minutes or that? No way in hell, not without a belt sander. So just kind of know those are the main differences. These are so much easier to deal with when something goes wrong. And guess what? Even when you're using them, you're gonna restrop them. This thing's just strop up so much better, so much faster. It's almost more fun to use these than it is the Super Steels or the Magna Cut. No, I've not had to actually redo jack to this knife, honestly. It's kind of really bloody impressive. It's stainless 3V, basically. Like, how insane is that? Pretty awesome. Although I think it actually has better edge retention and just slightly less toughness and totally stainless. Pretty much insane. So, am I sort of invalidating my entire argument here? Yes, just go get Magna Cut. It's better than everything. No, but it's still going to be harder to sharpen than the freaking 52-100s and 1095s in the world. No doubt, no question about it. The Rockwells are way higher. It's just a much more complicated steel to deal with. That being said, just don't get hung up on the top steel for what you have. Honestly, I am loving the lower end like carbon steels now. Give me A2 all day long over 3V. Just because it's easier to sharpen, it's easier to deal with, and I don't really see that much difference. I've chopped with big choppers and A2 and 3V, and you know what? Most all my choppers are A2 now. It is what it is, or 1095, because when something happens and when you're doing crazy big chopping, you're usually hitting things that are close to the ground or have dirt embedded in them. Or where I live, it's the Midwest. There's rocks and dirt and everything. Welcome to the wind and the suck show of hardwood. It is what it is, so things happen. I've had 3V be fantastic for me, but I just know fixing it is also a pain in the butt when it's so much easier on a slightly lower end carbon steel. So there it is. This isn't like some grand overview or philosophy of super steels. It's just kind of chill out, guys. Calm down. Don't be afraid to get an Essie in 1095. Don't be afraid to get a custom knife, 52-100. No, this is not a custom. It's a Lon Humphrey. They're semi at best, but I love them. They're really well done. This one actually has a thin edge on it, which is really rare. I like that a lot. Thanks, Lon. You did a good one. Good job on this one. But really all I'm saying is just if you like a knife and it's in 1095 or 01, just go for it. You'll find you can actually take care of that knife way better than you will be able to a 3V or a CruWear or anything along those lines. LMAX, for goodness sakes. Love LMAX, but you better have a real sharpening system. It is not going to be a strop-friendly sort of thing, if you know what I'm saying. So there it is. That's all I'm saying. Is just kind of take it easy. Enjoy what's out there. Don't feel like you have to have the best of everything, because sometimes having the best of everything, it's kind of lame. I wouldn't mind if this CruWear Fox River EXT2 was an A2, honestly, or 01. That would not pester me whatsoever. Honestly, it probably wouldn't have held up better. Technically, CruWear is tougher in all of those. But maybe, I don't know, would have done the same thing. The tip probably would have popped right off, which is just kind of sad. So there it is. Don't get hung up. Don't think you have to have the best. Feel free to kind of explore the cheaper end of steels, especially when you can get really cool custom pieces or just cheaper pieces that you won't, just be as sad about when things break. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. That's just a quick overview of steel in a nutshell. Hope this was fun. Just kind of was on my mind. I didn't want people to freak out about having to have the best or too afraid to get kind of the lower end, because guess what? The lower end is still pretty darn awesome. So anyway, have a good one. Thanks for hanging with me, and I'll catch you on the next one.